Good morning. Welcome to the end of the first week of SA in lockdown. So, 2 days ago I made a distinction between appropriate levels of worry and less appropriate levels of worry. But what happens if your feelings of worry or anxiety are in fact cranked up to an inappropriate level? What can you do to turn them back down again? Well, first and foremost, you need to understand that what we feel at any given moment is not in fact determined by our circumstances. Otherwise, for example, everyone in your family would feel exactly the same about lockdown. Maybe they don't. So what is it that determines what we feel? It's not the circumstances, but the way we think about the circumstances. And how should we be thinking? Well, in sport, we are constantly brainwashed that your thinking should be positive. Must think positive. Positive thinking definitely is more helpful than negative thinking. But it's also a little bit too simplistic sometimes. It's just, in reality, it's not that simple. The entire world and your entire career is not always absolutely positive. And when there's a clash between your thinking, everything will be perfect. When there's a clash between that and the actual reality, which maybe isn't perfect at any given moment, that's what cranks up our emotions to unhelpful levels. So then how should we be thinking? If it's not about positive thinking, how should we think? Simple. You want to think accurately. That's by far the most helpful kind of thinking. So let's take one or two examples. Imagine you're running a race and you're in front, and with a little way to go, and you being blindly positive, I will win, and you visualize yourself crossing the finishing line first, but with a little way to go, somebody comes flying past your shoulder. Because of the clash between the actual reality and your blind positive thinking, cranks up your emotions, and you're much more likely to make a bad decision, like try too hard and tighten up and maybe pull a muscle, or the exact opposite, give up, neither of which is helpful. The more accurate thinking might be, for example, well, I am the favorite, I'm most likely to win. There's someone here unexpectedly, which is also true, so let me just stay calm and focused and do what I need to do, stick to my race plan. Or in a soccer match or a rugby match, let's just stick to the game plan. Another example that we see in sport commonly of inaccurate thinking is, I can't let them down. Well, the actual truth is you can let people down. It's not about you, it's about them and their issues and their hopes and how much, and it's about them, their stuff. Don't make it about them. It is what it is. The actual truth is you may or may not, your supporters may or may not feel disappointed. It's also true that over your entire career you'll experience both. So just stay calm and stay focused on what you need to do. Your race plan, your game plan, etc. Another very simplistic kind of thinking, which is not accurate, is I'm useless or I'm not good enough. I mean, what does that actually mean? It's a huge overgeneralization. It may be true that I made a mistake on this occasion, but it's simply not accurate to say that I am useless. And finally, another very common example of inaccurate thinking is when it comes to how we are being treated by others. It may be true that the situation you find yourself in is unfair. That may be true. But if your thinking is that everybody in the world should always treat you fairly, well, it would be nice, but that's not the actual reality. Sometimes the unfairness works for us, sometimes it works against us. That's the actual reality. So we want to think accurately, see things as they actually are. Then your emotions will be turned down to a more appropriate level, which enables you to respond more effectively and actually be more likely to get the outcomes that you want. Our ways of thinking are a habit, like our behaviors. So you can develop the habit of thinking more accurately, but it takes practice over time. See you tomorrow.